I have compassion for people. And if I can give advice that probably I would never take, but at the end of the day, some people
Yeah.
need it, right? Like,
Yeah.
some people need to hear it from you. So I explained a situation where, you know, and a good example was my father
Mm-hmm.
and how I endeared him for so many years. And I would say I spent a good decade where he would always reach out and want to say sorry and want to apologize. Like, he wanted
Oh,
to
okay. Okay.
meet and he wanted to have coffee, and then we'd sit and have coffee and he'd want to be like, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. But I was just so angry.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was just so angry. I couldn't release it. I couldn't release it. And
Yeah.
I would say I spent 15 years being angry.
Mm.
Do
That's
you
a
know what I
long
mean?
time. Well, you know what it is? It's in that moment you're just not ready to receive what he wants
Right.
to offer you.
But I
Right?
wasn't in a good place.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I got married, and then like my father yelled at me on my wedding day.
Oh my
There was a lot of
gosh.
things going on, but anyways,
Mm.
um, I would say that after that,
Uh-huh.
it took me forgiving him and
Okay.
releasing that anger
Yeah.
to have a better relationship with him.
Yes.
I
Well,
should have
it helps
differently.
you. That's the whole point of
That's the thing.
forgiveness.
It's for
It's
you.
it's for you. It's
It's
not
for you
about the
to
other
like
person.
release that anger. It's for you,
Right.
for sure,
Right.
100%. So
Yeah.
that's why I say, like,
Yes.
it's easier said than done.
Yeah.
It's very hard. That is the only example I have in my life
Yeah.
of
Like
releasing the anger, like true
forgiveness.
releasing the
Yeah.
anger, true forgiving.
Yeah.
And actually building a better
Mm.
relationship.
Wow. That's remarkable.
That's the
That's
only
powerful.
that's the
That's
only
super
example
powerful.
I have.
Yeah.
Every other relationship has been very difficult because
Yeah.
he was ready to show up differently as well.
Right.
He did
Okay.
and made the changes that he needed to make for me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? He
Yeah.
made the choice to, when we met and we had breakfast, he would talk about, things that I was interested in.
Oh, nice.
And
Yeah. That's
he would ask me about
that's
obviously
like-
how many houses I sold this week, and
Yeah,
I'd be like,
yeah.
it doesn't work like that, Dad. Like,
Yeah.
but we would have conversations about other things.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it changed the
Yeah.
whole.
It changes the dynamic. Yeah.
And I
that's a
explained
way
that to her as an
connect.
example, and it's
Mm.
so far from her reality. And I can understand why.
Really?
It's
Yeah.
very unique. That situation is very unique.
Yeah, but I
Very
mean,
unique.
it's hard because she is kind of just moving through however she's going to move through and do her thing. But honestly, like that's one of the things. People can't show up and be anything different than how you perceive them.
Right.
If you think someone's an asshole and they show up and they give you flowers, you're going to be like, that asshole gave me flowers.
Right.
Right? You're going to continue to think as soon as you change how you perceive them, suddenly you'll notice that maybe they're not an asshole today, right? But if you're just constantly focused on that, there's no way. It doesn't matter what someone does. They can do whatever. They can do all the things. They can say all the things. You're not going to believe them because
Yeah.
you are so fixated on how you think they are.
Right.
And you're always going to be looking for every little slip up.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
You're always going to be looking for, they did like 10 great things. They did one bad thing, or they messed up once. You're going to see there, I knew it. That person is XYZ.
Right.
And you just forgot the other 10 things that they've
That
been
they
doing
did.
to build, to do like, to be different, right? To show up differently for you. So it's really fascinating. Yeah. I always tell people like people will change as soon as you see them as changed, not
Right.
because they've shown up and suddenly been different, but because you start to look at them differently. Because
Right.
your perception of them starts to change. And then they start showing up how you believe them to be, because then how else can they show up?
Mhm.
Right? If you start to believe that someone actually has good intentions and you make that assumption, then when they do show up and they do something nice, they say something nice, you're like, oh, okay, you can accept that.
Right.
Right. And then they start to reciprocate that because they see that you're suddenly receiving them in a different way. And then they start going, oh, this is great. Okay. I'm going to do more of that.
Right.
It's like this, it's this subconscious way that people shift their behaviors because we all teach people how to treat us, which
I know.
is like, ugh, people are like, what do you mean?